Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another installment of the State of FEH Podcast. I'm your host, DTM, and I'm joined by Oblivion Knight and Joel, as always. How are you two doing on this fine evening?
It is the time of Choose Your Legends. It is the time of madness, craziness, propaganda. Everything you can think of is happening right now, and I am here to promote the Demon King and his cults. So if you want to join, I'm just saying, it's only one vote.
I think this is a good time to step back and really remember who brought us this game. The original Asker trio. And Sharena needs your vote. She deserves this victory. She's been with us for so long. I just, the words that just, randomly come to my mind. Stuff I'm thinking about.
Yeah, this is just going to turn into a campaigning podcast. Well, unfortunately, I can't join in because I actually don't have anyone I'm campaigning for, since pretty much everyone from Awakening that has a realistic chance is here. So, yeah.
Must be nice. Just all your favorites already being praised.
Yeah. My favorite was already here before I even joined. It's amazing,
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, CYL 9 is happening right now, and unfortunately we don't have proper midterms, which I'm still very, very angry about. I think that just removes a lot of energy. But is there anything that stands out to you right now when it comes to this campaign cycle of CYL?
I think it's so hard to get a proper read on stuff just because the algorithm feeds you what you want to see. So I think it's kind of hard to get a full read on it. I do think that the fact that Femortis is votable is hilarious, and that everyone's just kind of memeing and going for that. But I think it was the male side. I think will be the more random side where I don't know who's gonna win. But I feel the female side I have more certainty. I'm not. I feel it's gonna be Ivy plus somebody else. Essentially, that's where I'm at.
It's a 3-horse race, right? I mean, it's Ivy, Balder, and Sharena look like the top 3. So, although I have seen some Azura, so I mean maybe it's a 4-horse race. so yeah.
And then Yunaka too. I feel I've seen a lot for the different females, but for the males I've seen 4, which I don't know if it's the algorithm or if it's just I don't know. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen anything for Yunaka, which is crazy. Maybe it's just what you're talking about with the algorithm, but I have not seen a whole lot with her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really on Twitter, and I don't even go on the For You tab or whatever, so I only get what I follow explicitly. But I've only seen things from Femortis, Ivy, and honestly, that's about it. I guess from Sharena because of you, Joel. But yeah. So it is really hard to tell what's happening outside of our algorithmic bubble. So it'll be interesting, which is why we need midterms. We need midterms results, so we actually have some feedback.
I hate that it's here's the top 20 in a alphabetical order, and I'm can you stop?
This
they really don't want
worthless.
people campaigning or pushing or you know what I mean? I feel that's the funnest thing about CYL. So I wish they'd go back.
We do need to take a step back because IS does some stupid things. I think we can all agree about that. That is, we can not argue about that at all.
Right.
The Femortis thing they did though is kind of great, where they led up to him with the Christmas stuff, which they did a fantastic job, and then they made him votable in CYL. This is something that they did a pretty good job on. We do need to take a step back and applaud them for that. Even though I'm going for Sharena, I do love the whole Femortis thing. That's fantastic.
I'm honestly
surprised.
I'm honestly surprised that Femortis wasn't votable until now. I thought he would be votable when he got a mythic version of himself introduced, but I guess not.
Maybe they didn't know what to do until now. They're we have no idea what we're going to do if there's another Femortis ult. And then with Christmas, they finally figured it out. And they're okay, well, now we know what to do. So they felt comfortable putting him in. I don't know. But at the same time, they didn't have Euler either. So it's kind of random. I don't know.
I'll be completely honest. I didn't realize he wasn't votable.
Femortis? Yeah, I didn't realize he wasn't votable either. So,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're gunning for Femortis all the way now, right, Oblivion?
Well, I have one ballot for Femortis. I have one ballot for Athos, just so that, he's not going to win, but like maybe I ask him like, hey, look, that guy got 7 votes. That's pretty good. Like there's one person out there who will whale for Athos, and then I have one ballot, just my random favorites who I just want to give a vote to. That's where I'm at. But yeah, like when it comes to campaigning, I want Femortis to win just because I think this is probably his only realistic chance. I think, next year the buzz will have died down probably. So we'll see.
And obviously for you, Joel, it's Sharena all the way, I'm assuming.
All the way. That straight ballot right there. That's, yeah. I'm taking no chances. If it's by one vote, I mean, I couldn't live with myself. That's
Imagine that. Imagine it being like, even like 100 votes.
Yeah. Or 7. I mean, it was CYL 7, I want to say, where Bernie like lost out by like less than 100 votes or something like that. Like that was actually crazy.
Was it really?
Yeah. I think it was less than 100. Lost out of second place.
That's the case.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so bad for Bernie fans. Oh, you're 100 and okay. I know 117 votes.
Yeah, 117. Like,
I mean,
that's divide by 7. That's literally like, I want to say 30ish, not even 30ish people.
Right.
Like 20 max, 20 people ish. Yeah. Quick math. We can do math, guys.
The thing is though, like, if you can get realistically, like, if you're guaranteed a CYL, like for some people, like I feel like male bias is a guarantee eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming later isn't that bad because then you just get more power creep later on, right? Like you're like even more powerful. Like imagine if Felix had won the year where Sword and Robin would have won. He wouldn't be what he is now, right? Like not even close. Like so there is advantages to it.
I mean, I think at least from CYL, I want to say either 4 or 5 onwards. For the most part, like most of the CYL units have been relatively good at the time, with some exceptions, Tiki being one of them. I mean, let's be real. Yeah, it wasn't that great. Despite everyone's, all my comment sections saying so. I guess when it comes to CYL9, like if Femortis or Sharena, like your dream or whichever character you want the most, like gets in, what do you think? Well, what do you want IS to do with them for their Brave version?
I think Femortis is just like such a wild card, and that's kind of why I want him to win. Because I really have no idea what you can really do. Like you could do a boring thing, I guess, and kind of just like make him Leon, but then I feel like you won't do that because then Leon's still votable, right? So like, what do you actually do with Femortis? Like you have to give him like the wackiest outfit. He has no siblings or no family or nothing to like dress him up as. So it's just gonna be like the most like wild card crazy thing, and I think that would be a lot of fun. That's like a big reason why I'm just like, okay, we need to see what Femortis actually ends up as.
So I did a cross-reference thing where I looked at, the value of the unit when they came out versus what archetype they were. And keep in mind, I mean, just the nature of this, it has some bias in it because it's me assigning value. But if your unit is an armor, they generally age better. That's just, yeah, some of that's just the way that Fae works. They seem to give armors more things later on. But that's usually what you want to be, is a melee armor and things go well for you. My problem is I don't think they would ever do that with Sharena, so I don't know what they're gonna. I'm worried they'll make her a nuke, and ranged nukes do not age terribly well.
I think she could be like a mage, like her mom. I think that'd be cute. Dress her up as Henriette, make her a mage. I like that a lot.
I think that's the most likely, but I always worry how well they're going to do that. So we'll see. I mean, maybe they'll give her something unique, like female Robin. If she wins. Obviously, that's a big if. But yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I still think it'd be funny to get Brave Balder before we even get Mythic Balder, just like with Goldflake again, like just to see. Like, I don't know if they'll do the same thing though, where like they didn't really write that much of a story for Brave Goldflake, right? They kind of just like had her there. So I don't know if they'll do the same thing with Balder or not, but I think
they didn't do it in the story, but like
right,
it's in the outfit. It's sort of at the time it released, it like sort of hit upon that plot point, I guess. And so like in a meta sense, that's how they incorporated it. I mean, for Golveg, it was relatively simple because there was that tie-in to Sather. But for Baldur,
right,
like unless like they reveal some new art or something later down the line, or with the key art that we have, I don't know what they would do art-wise, personally, with Baldur. I don't know. I guess it would be very, very interesting to see. We'll see if she actually is able to pull off the Golveg. I don't think she has the same amount of momentum that Golveg had 2 years ago. But I mean, again, I don't know, algorithmic bias and all that sort of stuff. So we shall see.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. I think there's quite a few options, which is fun though. I think it's kind of more fun than like let's say like the Three Houses year, like everyone was excited because people love the Three Houses characters, but we kind of knew who was gonna win, right? Like we knew Claude, Edelgard, and Dimitri were gonna win. It was more like who's the fourth slot. That was like the only option really. So I think it's more interesting when it's a little bit more open and there's not a clear winner.
Definitely, yeah. But yeah, any final thoughts on the CYL? This will be released on the 5th day, I believe. So I guess any last minute propaganda or last minute thoughts before we move on to the rest of it?
I think we propagandized enough.
Yeah.
But that's like Oblivion said, I mean, one of the downsides to a lot of the favorites being gone is that there's a little less hype, but the fun thing is exactly what you said. Like it's anyone's game. Because if Ivy didn't make top 2, I don't think anyone would be particularly just absolutely shocked. Like if she made 3rd place, that's a very realistic thing that could happen.
Yeah, I think so. Like it's so interesting to see because without the midterms, it's so hard to really know or how to campaign, right? So it's like literally just like throw it out there and see what happens, which is, I don't know. That's how we end up with like such weird things like Golveg, in my opinion, right? I think if Golveg, if we had got midterms when Golveg was up there, like I don't think we would have got Golveg because I think a lot of people would have campaigned against her. You know, I mean, they would have like rallied whoever was next to her.
Yeah. I miss those. I miss that energy so much. Oh well. But yeah, lots of things to look forward to this CYL. We have literally no idea because IS refuses, and yeah, I guess nothing else to do but to wait until the FEH channel, probably in either the 1st or 2nd on February. Yeah.
Like the next 2 weeks, or not even next 2 weeks, like next week and a half are gonna be really fun. Not only are we gonna get the FEH channel, we're also gonna get the new Mythic banner, and then Hero Rises too, which is like I just love this time of year for FEH. It's so much fun.
Yeah, there's so many options for Hero Rises, and there's some within this month that we'll definitely talk about. One of them actually being our latest Emblem unit that has gotten a very I would say polarizing reaction. It is Emblem Lyn, and I believe all of us has gotten an Emblem Lyn. Is that correct?
I believe so.
All right, cool. I guess, was there anything about Emblem Lyn that you think of now compared to what she was when you had your first reaction to her in the banner, basically, I guess, or on the trailer? Like, has there been any differences since then?
No, I don't think so. I think I called it almost like spot on. Like, it's like probably one of my best predictions, where I was like, this unit's just gonna break a lot of stuff. Like, Ether 8's offense has become the Lyn shooting range essentially, and I was pretty much right about that. So no, I think I don't know if there's anything. Oh, I know the fact that Ymir showed up. That's like probably the most surprising thing about Lyn is that Ymir should be best friend. Like that's like the only thing I didn't see coming.
She's a meta unit now.
Yep.
That's just wild to me.
It is.
Yeah, like during the last SDR, I saw a lot of, I guess it was mainly on the CN side of the community using her in the quote-unquote CN pasta, where it's basically just her with Emblem Lucina with the Lyn ring, and that just pairs up really, really well. Obviously, this is like just the ring effect of Emblem Lyn, but yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all either.
It's very interesting. But yeah, I think Lyn's just, man, what a unit. Holy crap. She's so strong. I think styles are really interesting. I'm kind of surprised a little bit we haven't seen another one. I kind of expected to see one like pretty quickly after, but maybe they're like going to do it once a month, maybe on like, maybe not even once a month. Maybe it's only for emblems. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I do think styles are really, man, they can be game changers. Just with Lyn, we can see how much of a game changer it can be. So I'm interested to see what other kinds we get, and also like what kind of tools we get to make Lyn's even better.
And you never know, because someone was just talking to me, actually it was CJ in the Discord, was talking to me about, do you remember Alir's bond effect?
Right.
And they've been doing a lot of weird things like that, and their follow through is spotty.
It's very
it's interesting. I'm still wondering if they're going to do something about Summer Alir's bond effect, but maybe this is the only style we get, and that's it.
That would be actually insane. Like Lyn dev just showed up and they're like, no, Lyn gets a whole new mechanic, guys. She can't just be good. She has to have a total game changer.
I think I predict that styles, and I said this on my initial reaction, I think styles are going to be how IS gets actives in the game, similar to like gambits in Three Houses, or whatever the combat skills in Echoes that allow you to like make a special attack on command or something like that. I think this is how they're going to implement that. So I predict that if there's any like skills like gambits that IS wants to start pulling out into like a B slot or a perf or something like that, that's how they're going to be doing that, through the style mechanic. So I don't necessarily foresee it being limited to just emblems, but it just depends on which other active combat skill IS wants to bring out at this point.
Yeah, I did find it interesting that like right now styles are only player phase, and I don't know if they ever plan to change that. I feel like you're essentially limiting your design space for no reason. So I'm interested to see if they eventually swap around and like let people do whatever, right? Because I feel like styles is their big new design space, and you should take advantage of that. At the same time, you don't want to rush it. That's what they typically do. They're like, hey, we have this new thing. Let's like release 12 of it immediately, so we have nothing else to do later on. So I hope they don't do that, but I do think like styles has a lot of potential to change the game, and also like change how units interact with each other, which is usually pretty a good thing in strategy games.
Yeah, I was thinking like for a Lucina, Emblem Lucina, they could do like a style bonded shield effect, where if you activate the style, where she will end up will create like when you use the style, you can like quote unquote assist a unit by giving them a shield or something like that to help defense or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything coding wise that would limit it from enemy phase.
Right. I think it's just now.
It's got to pop up with Emblem Ephraim / Erica, right?
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
It absolutely lends itself to that.
Yeah.
The question is, does it show up? Like, when does it show up not on an Emblem hero, right? Because, like, will it show up on our Mythics? Imagine if you get a Mythic who's a reinforcement hero who also has a style. Like, holy crap. Like, that would be insane value. So, I'm interested to see how they push things and how they do that. Because they haven't really done that historically. Like, we don't really have, like, duo Mythics or, like, harmonized Mythics or anything like that. So, I'm interested to see if they end up, like, kind of swapping. Like, if style's more of, like, a
mechanic rather than a unit type, right?
Exactly, right? Do they tie it to emblems, or do they tie it, like, do they just allow whatever, wherever they want it?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure. I guess the only way to know is just to wait until when the next one comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My thing I want the most is snake killer style. Can we get that? Put that out immediately. I'm so tired of Níðhöggr.
We'll talk about the latest iteration of Níðhöggr later. But back to Emblem Lyn. Personally, I think I see her pretty similar to where I initially reacted to on her release, which is not the same reaction I think that you were. That I do think Lyn is very, very strong, but I don't think she like breaks the game or anything like that, right? Like, funnily enough, because of the Níðhöggr's plus another different saves, we're still quite in a very bulky and tanky meta, unfortunately, in my opinion. And Lyn, there are some tools to get around that, like Emir, for instance, Lorather, Embla. But for the most part, it hasn't caused, like, at least when it comes to Summoner's duels, like the absolute shooting range that I think a lot of people were fearing. In fact, this past SDR, it was mainly like melee teams, funnily enough. Which is something
that was because of Lyn, though.
To a certain extent, yes, but it also goes to show that it's not making Lyn necessary. In fact, when the optimal strat is not to have Lyn at all, just to have 5 melees, I think that kind of precludes her from being broken in at least in SD. Obviously, Aether8's offense is a different story. I mean, Aether8's offense has been broken for a while, but yeah.
I don't know that it's been this broken though. She adds a different level, and particularly, I think you make a really good point. I don't know that she herself has broken the game. I think she accelerated some things that were already in place though, and it's that whole the battle of the bulk right now. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of that. I'll be happy when this leaves, but it's been interesting. I think you make a really good point though. I don't think Lyn herself was the thing that busted things. I think it just
it was Loratha instead.
All of the like, if you watch all of the big offenses now, they have really shrunk down into a corner to where they're closer now to armor balls than anything else. So those are many of the rank 1 defenses have gone that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, at least in Aether8's offense, I literally, for Chaos Season at least, I didn't even make another team. I just made a Lyn team and that was it, because I knew I never would need anything else. Like, I feel like is absolutely shooting range, like for Aether8's offense at least. Part of that is, I think that is mostly Lyn. I think the second major factor is like Lyn giving out her Emblem Ring, right? Which like means that, like, let's say there's something Lyn can't kill, you just bring the Emblem Ring and then have the other unit who can kill it, right? And between the two of them, I never have a problem. Like everything dies like immediately. So you really do need like be able to snipe their safe defense is like the only thing that really scares me when I'm using Lyn.
Yeah, safe defense version 2 is that's quite a thing.
Oh.
Imagine like being able to wait till Bolt Tower hits and then just like having free range. Like that's crazy to me. Like I literally just have
understand that one. All right.
I just have one Felix team, Gale Force team in my Aether8's offense I use for both seasons, and like it's just enough. Like I still am able to reach tier 39 with all of it. It's just insane.
Yeah.
So I mean, we talked about Femortis that they did very well. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, it's that safe defense too, which I just wow, what an overreaction. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it a reaction to?
You know what it reminds me of?
No, it's a reaction to no one playing Aether8. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, because like Aether8 has been the easiest it has been for so long. And now it's even easier.
It really reminds me of a different version of Leon. Like, you don't want the defense to be able to play, and so they sit there frozen while you pick them off. It's annoying.
It's very annoying, very very annoying. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't really like the reinforcement slot's kind of whatever to me, but like it's just another tool that the offense gets. That like they gave him like the biggest tool in safe defense too, and they're like, here's another tool just for no other reason. Here's a reinforcement unit, and it's like, man. I'm really hoping that the defense reinforcement slot like really swaps things up. But the thing is, by the time it activates for defense, like you could have half the defense dead already, if not more. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So even if a unit pops out, they have to, we'll have to see if they attack immediately. If they don't attack immediately, I think it's like not even who cares.
Actually
right?
useless,
If they attack immediately, then that could be scary. Because I can imagine like you're just like chilling, all of a sudden Sigurd just comes out of nowhere and just blows up your back line. But we'll see if they actually do that or not.
I think you said it. The joke's on us because we were worried that with the extra person that there were going to be too many units on the map, and there won't be because all of them will be dead.
Exactly.
That's it. I mean, not a problem.
Yeah.
But and that's back to what you said. It's not Lyn by herself. It's Lyn plus the reinforcement slot plus the safety fence
version 2
plus the Lyn ring. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
lot. I mean, yeah.
Offense.
I think in Summer Duels it's more balanced just because you can't stack your team as much and you don't have as much time to like have the perfect setup. And then, unless if you're an SDR, you're not really playing Lyn and Lyn Ring, right? You're like usually doing one or the other. You don't probably usually put them on the same team, I think. So I think
they don't have the safety fence component. Like you need those three to really break things. That's Your opponent isn't frozen for 3 turns. That would be a different kind of Summoner Duels.
Right. I mean, Lyn is still really good in Summoner Duels. Like I know the current SDS map, there's an opening you can do with Lathreder or like. You can do it without Lathreder too, but like you can do Lathreder with like Cordelia, and essentially on turn 1, if you go first, they can't do anything. Like you have Lyn in sniping range with dual strike, and they have assigned decoy on their unit. So like you're just chilling there, like hey, come at me. Like it's really toxic. So I've seen people just ban that one. I've also seen people just not use Lathreder, just use like full firepower. I feel like Ymir for Miracle.
I feel like full firepower would be better because on this map, there's a way to basically prevent Lorather from giving assigned decoy to your ranged units because of the T formation.
Yeah. I've seen both, but I think that is a bit toxic in my opinion. I don't really like that all that much. So I do think she's a good unit. I just don't think she's not like a god tier duo Leon on release unit for SD.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Yeah. For SD, she's just like a strong unit, in my opinion. There's, I feel like a lot stronger units than Emblem Lyn in SD. Like Níðhöggr, speaking of which.
Oh my gosh.
So we need to touch on one other thing before we move on to that, because I can feel you transitioning, and it was so smooth, and then I'm going to break it. But the other problem with this is it really shoehorns you into the way you're going to play in Aether Raids.
Yeah.
If you want to do Omni tanks right now, or tanks of any sort, it's a tough time to be around. I mean, that's not very fun at all.
I don't really feel like it shoehorns you, at least in Aether Raids, because I mean, I know there's a lot of people doing like the shooting range style, but like I feel like I'm still doing Gale Force style. People are doing hit and run style now with this safety fence version 2. Unless you're talking about defense, in which case there's definitely, defense has always been very, very restrictive in which archetypes are like actually good.
If you don't want to do player phase right now, Aether Raid sucks. Like if that's not the way you want to play, then you're having a bad time. Like Lorather's really kind of toxic for any kind of enemy phase teams. He's really tough.
I've done some tanking, but I've always done it on maps where like I'm being lazy and I know that I can tank. So I don't really know, but I've mostly just been doing offense, just player phase, because player phase is just so strong right now. Like why would I not player phase? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's,
I mean, that's
the easiest has been. I feel like I keep saying this every podcast, but player phase is legit easiest than it has ever been right now.
Yeah, you just have so many tools.
Okay, I guess now it's time for the transition. After that little segue.
Sorry, I won't interrupt this time. Go ahead.
Yeah, Níðhöggr. It was not enough to just have one of her. Now we have 2 of her in a New Year's version.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, how do you release a unit and then like less than 2 months later, like not even like it was like a month and a week or something? Was it even that long? We get another version of the same unit? Like, why? Like, oh my god, why? And they're both so toxic because they're just good at everything. Like, it's ridiculous how good they are at literally every role. Like, both of them are ridiculously tanky because they have 3 layers of flat DR, which is nuts to have on a save unit. They both do damage and kill things. So like they're actually good offensive units. Like using Selkarine on Níðhöggr isn't a meme. It's a real thing.
Yep,
you could
it's
do.
a real thing.
Yeah. And then lastly, they both have support. Like you have the Mythic version who has sabotage and debuffs on every second of the move, like every time you move, at start of turn, like just all the time. And then also you have, the new Nier's one now who's giving out like Hexblade and stats and like DR piercing. So it's like, why do these tanks do everything? That's a bit too much for me, in my opinion. And dosage. I forgot about dosage. They both give out dosage.
And they both like obsolete Nurgle, basically. Wait.
Yes, they both, true. Yeah. And then she even came with higher ground so that you can't have warping straps. I hate these snakes so much. Oh.
Yeah.
If anyone asked me what would you delete from FEH? It's Níðhöggr, like so quick.
I mean, yeah, I feel like Níðhöggr is one of the reasons why we're such in a tank meta right now. It's just like it's super, super hard to be able to deal with them. Like even like Emblem Lyn, unless like she had like a bunch of support, can't even deal with them. At least when it comes to Summer's duels, you need like either Miracle or like Brave or something like that in order to be able to get through, which does not bode well. I will tell you that. And because these are very, very tanky, it becomes basically like a combat check. It's not as much of a skill check, in my opinion, because you need investment on your nukes. You need certain nukes that are able to deal with them, and you need investment on them to be able to, clear things. It's not like when it's like just super nuke orientated, where you don't have any problem of killing things. It's just about the strategy you go about doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, for 2 weeks, I have fallen into the biggest rabbit hole ever on what's wrong with this unit. And I've had a lot of time to think about this. So where I ended up was the damage formula. And I've got a whole episode that I'm doing on this because I thought everyone is really confused about this. And it took me a little bit to figure out why. So if you look at the damage formula, what the current tanks and, Níðhöggr on the front line of that does is any of the original part of the base damage formula gets utterly thrown out. It's just erased. There's so many debuffs and so much flat damage that your attack versus their res versus all of the different multipliers just don't matter anymore. And so the typical way you think about defeating a unit is that you have more attack than their defenses. And we have gone to a meta where not even special damage is sacred anymore. They have flat damage reduction on that. And most of that, if you go into negative base damage, that takes into effect on your special damage. Right. So there's so many debuffs that you're not able to get through that. And so we are 100% in the true damage meta. That's it. That is the biggest thing that matters. And so you've got a lot of folks who are trying to buff up their units with extra stats and extra effects and all this, and it doesn't matter. I mean, I had to prove out the point, I had a Níðhöggr beating Lilina, or Lilina beating Níðhöggr rather, and the thing I gave her was Flashing Blade 4, because I could get true damage out of it. And that's really confusing, because it is an utter change in the way we've thought about units up until this point. It's slowly been coming, but it is now basically don't look at anything else on a nuke. Throw it all out, just look at true damage, and you'll be in a good spot. Like there are other supportive things, but that is the biggest thing. And this is why, no kidding, Rune is probably the second best nuke in the game right now because of the ridiculous amounts of true damage that unit gets.
You know what else is really good that no one's talking about? Midir. Midir is actually crazy cracked.
Absolutely.
He gets like 50 something true damage. Like his weapon gives 32, and then you get another 20 another 10 from his A slot, and then you can put in a B slot that gives even more true damage. So he actually is like way better than people think he is. It's kind of crazy. I didn't pull for him obviously, but he's actually slept on super hard. Also, the other thing is like multiplier changes. That's why Ronan is all of a sudden everyone's talking about Ronan now. Oh my god, he's so broken. It's because him and Tamara just get to cheat. Like they're just like, hey, what are these multipliers? We get to use completely different stats that get debuffed less, and then also we get 150% of them. So that's another way to cheat a little bit. But it's really crazy that like attack has somehow gone down in value so much, because it just doesn't matter as much. You just need ways to cheat things now, which is crazy that the game has gone in that direction, I guess.
I mean, on that note,
go ahead.
I mean, I was just about to say, like, another way, I guess, would be damage reflection, which is why we've been seeing a lot of the rise in Thor, who's actually one of the best units right now in dealing with the snakes, being able to just completely destroy them if she initiates. Like, no problem.
But damage reflection, and that has the same clause as Johanna Lance, and Johanna Lance is true damage.
Yep.
That is true damage there. So that is just another form of that.
Yep. Yeah, damage reflections are really good.
There's this amazing Sacred Spear video from 6 years ago where he breaks down all the individual parts. And then my favorite part is he talks about, and I guess in theory, they could have a unit with 0 attack and all true damage, and that would be good, but that would be stupid. They would never do a thing like that. So I'm like, hello, Tamara.
Right. Oh, man. Yep.
I mean, for Tamara, it's thematic, so I excuse them for that. But yeah.
I mean, it's the basics of the game. We learn them, and then you completely throw them out.
Right.
And it means the little, the bar that we always make fun of for Fey math, they do this much damage. That's utterly useless. It tells us nothing because it's that base damage portion of the formula.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point where like you go to combat and it's not a matter of looking at the forecast. You're just like, did I win? Okay, I won. Cool. Like,
exactly.
It's so difficult to actually know like beforehand, unless you know the matchups, right? If you know the matchups, then it's fine. But like, a lot of times it's like you go in, you're like, I'm doing 99 times 2, but they're taking 3 damage. And you're like, wait, what? Like,
I mean, I mean that 99 times 2 or whatever portion of that forecast is, like, it's always been unreliable since it doesn't count for specials or damage reduction. So yeah, I guess what I've always done and what we all need to do is just look at what health everyone ends up at, basically.
Well, yeah.
It's yeah. So yeah, Níðhöggr is quite the menace for sure. I know there are a bunch of people finding ways to deal with her, especially in Summer's duels. I know for me specifically, I've been doing the Ninja Lucina plus Emir strat of basically like being able, with Aether specifically, because Aether actually does quite a bit against Níðhöggr's bulk. And I know Thor is as well. Has there been any other units that you've been utilizing or have found people have been utilizing?
Tune Micaiah, Harmonic Nephany, because she has a sweep effect, so I don't need Desperation. She just hits 4 times. And
Base Kit Saber with Pavis will do it. I'm not even kidding. Base Kit Saber with Pavis will do it.
I need to try that.
Seriously.
I'm gonna take off Emblem, not Emblem. I'm gonna take off Johanna Ike's weapon and give him Johanna Lance plus.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's so crazy. And then at some point they're gonna give us like a way to like ignore flat DR, and then everything's just gonna change again. You know what I mean? Like everything's gonna just go insane.
I mean, the way to deal with flat DR is true damage, like added damage, right? Like I feel like that's IS's already quote unquote counter to flat damage. Like if you subtract damage, we'll just add damage.
Yeah, true damage or out of combat damage. That's
like, yeah. How high can they go though, right? Like is next year, are we going to be like, oh, you only have 36 true damage? This unit has 84 true damage. Like, are we going to get to that point? Or like, what are they going to do? You know what I mean? I think that's kind of ridiculous in my opinion.
Aren't we closer to that than you joke, but how much flat DR does Níðhöggr get, and how much true damage do you need to take her out? Like that's
what I'm saying. So like I'm like, do we just keep going in that direction, or are we like going to shift gears? You know what I mean? I feel like every other time we've shifted gears. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, hey, everyone's doing grand strategy. Let's bring out ploy and shift it, and then we're gonna go to a different direction, right? Okay, now we're going towards big specials. We have Wind Clawed. He's just throwing out lethalities, right? That's the new nuking profile. Oh, now we're gonna bring out Scowl to counter that, right? So it's like shifting gears. Now it just feels like we're just adding numbers. It's like, oh, you get this much flat DR, I get this much true damage. I get more flat DR, now I get more true damage. Like, are we just gonna continue down that path? Because I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
And it feels very much like they're backing themselves into a corner.
Exactly. And the thing too is, like, when you do that, it makes it even more difficult for old units to even be able to do anything at all.
Absolutely.
Like, you really have to tie it to skills. And the problem is, like, yes, they do tie some stuff to skills for sure, but like something like Níðhöggr, right, where it's like a majority of her power is in her actual preference weapons and preference skills. You can't compete when it's that much of a difference. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's a very slippery slope if we start tying true damage and flat DR, like bigger numbers to inheritables, and that we can that might be a dark path there. So that
sort of happened with Shield Fighter, basically, like being inheritable, like that caused like the huge armor renaissance, and so. Maybe I think you're right, Oblivion. Like if IS wanted to, they'll probably just shift it to a different direction instead of like adding numbers.
I think they need to.
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna do that like in November with the Ninjas. Banner. Yeah, and then that didn't happen. And I was like, oh, I'm confused now.
I mean, Ninja Lucina's here. You know, she's doing stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, she's good. I just mean she's not like the new thing. You know what I mean? Like, she's like the upgraded thing we already had. Where like when we got Wind Clawed, that was a new thing. You know what I mean? It's like a new damage profile.
I see.
So I was expecting that.
New mechanic.
I was expecting like or like just like I was expecting like a nuke who could just like have flat DR. That's what I was expecting, and that didn't happen. Instead, they doubled down on armors, and we just got new armors, better armors. We got the stupid Wily Fighter and Slick Fighter 4 skills, which were a giant mistake in my opinion, and Shield Fighter, which is the biggest mistake. So. I don't know what you do at this point. Like, I've been thinking of a new A skill, and it's like Slayer, and it's like if you have effective damage, you just do like 5 times as much damage. And like, good, let's do that and kill armors, and I don't have to deal with it for a while. like just remove saves again. The meta is better without saves, in my opinion.
I actually agree with that. Yeah, the meta is better without saves. But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Níðhöggr was definitely the biggest star in that banner, but we have some others. Like, we had Hathrin, which is another source of Divine Nectar. Not as good as Mythic Hathrin, as it turned out, but just having Divine Nectar is pretty nice, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the thing was like with her is like I think she could age really well depending on where the meta goes, but right now frontliners are just so valuable. Like, they're so ridiculously valuable. Having a frontliner who not only is like super bulky, but like offers like ridiculously powerful support to your entire team, it's just so good. So like I've been using both, but Mythic Hathrin is definitely the one that I struggle to put on teams more, because I'm like, well, I want her on every team. Like, it's a which team do I put her on? With Hathrin, it's more like, oh, I already have this frontliner. Let me bring in Mythic Hathrin to make them better, and then also have like a support nuke, right? Which is still
New Year's
Hathrin. Yeah, sorry, New Year's, yeah. Obviously, support nuke is still like one of the best roles in the entire game, if not the best role. So that's still really, really good. But I think she's overall strong. I just don't think she's like the game changer or anything like that. I think Níðhöggr ended up kind of stealing that from her.
Right.
I'll agree with you on SD. In 8th Raid's defense and that little niche, and to your point, like that is a, that isn't an overall absolutely busted, but she is amazing on Aetherraid's defense, specifically in light season where you didn't have her before. Right. I mean, if you're trying to avoid the shooting range, she is one of the units that will help you do that.
Yes. Yep. That's where I have her too, personally. I have her on Dark Season, and she does great there. Like she's fantastic. She actually kills a lot of things like you don't expect her to kill. So
yeah.
She's great.
Yeah. Like her nuking is pretty good. It's just that like when it comes to her role, like obviously being a frontline that can also do the Divine Nectar is just a lot better right now, especially when we have teams that like last SDR is mainly composed of melees. It's easier to slot her in and stuff.
Yeah.
I will say I did run into a team that used the dual skill with the grass, which was super annoying because it blocked my Celica warping Thor from being able to actually attack people. Like that was so rude of them. Like why did they have to do that?
Get ready for that on Saturday, because I've seen the opening with Duo Hathrin. It's like a turn 2. And you hit their entire team with the terrain.
With the grass.
They can't do any warping from the whole map, pretty much. So like if you don't have your opening set up so that you can do it immediately, you actually get your whole opening messed up. It's crazy good.
You just need your own Hathrin to then trigger and overlay the grass.
Right. Or it's a standoff, like who
get a
gets
fallen
first?
Maria or Hector with the stones or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember Fjorm when she first came out, and the ice, the way it was an ice standoff. Who would hit that thing first?
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's funny the terrain's counter is just other terrain. Honestly, it
really is.
Honestly.
I'm waiting for the terrain cleanser, which we will get eventually. That will happen. I don't know when it will happen, but I'm sure it will happen at some point. Where it's just like, after start of turn effects, turn off all terrain or something like that.
Yeah.
Duo Balder and Thor. Thor being the backpack.
Ooh.
That could go hard.
What if the terrain exploded? So you destroy the terrain, and then anyone who's standing on terrain takes damage. That would be interesting. That would be such a cool animation. Yeah. Like you just see little explosions go off, and you just see all your units take like 10 damage and like get panicked or something. Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool.
That slaps so hard.
Would you call it earthquake? What would you? It feels like something that would just
earthquake.
I don't know.
Yes.
That's
or like Ragnarok, and it's gonna be on like the Allfather guy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Well, I guess you know what to do now. Like I'm sure we have like some people who uncle work at Nintendo. Like you know what to do.
Right. That one moment.
Yeah. I think the other unit was Hraesvelgr. I'm not gonna lie, Hraesvelgr, if on that SDR, if a team had Hraesvelgr, I literally could not win unless I deal with their save immediately because my Thor could not kill Hraesvelgr. And so yeah, that was a rip. She's actually, I feel like, kind of slept on, at least in the broader community. But yeah, absolutely. She's really good.
She's really, really good. I personally, I don't want to use her.
Because you're a Neopets hater.
I am. My entire defense is called Evil Neopets, and it's just all the Neopets and Freyr. So like, it's literally just that. And I just use it to terrorize people because I have to get terrorized too. So it's only fair that it gets spread to everyone. But yeah, Hraesvelgr is amazing. Just one of the best nukes in the game, melee nukes in the game right now. And she has really good fodder, so Pirate Sim are ready to eat. So that's always
nice. Like I said, if you don't use Pirate...
her. I don't have her, and I feel like I should. I feel like I'm missing out, but she is very, very good.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you don't use that Pirate Tibarn that you fed this SDS, you're a fake fan. So
I'm gonna use it now. I'm gonna use it. I've been thinking of strats. Oh, and there's Tana too on that banner. Tana's really cool. I think that's she's like one of the coolest 4-star we've gotten in years. The fact that you can do like the hit and run warping strats now, where you can have like Felix go in and like kill 2 things and then like warp out with Tana. So cool. Love it. And the fact that she's a 4-star is awesome. The bad thing is I didn't get her, so I've only been watching videos and I'm like, man, I really want to pull her, but she's also a 4-star. Am I about to go back in this banner for 4-star? But she seems so cool, I might do it. Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, I
hate her in arena.
What?
I hate Arena so much. Oh,
I just hate Arena. So like I am the official Arena and Arena Salt hater. I hate it so much now. It's like actually
join the club. I've hated Arena before it was cool with Marnies and everything.
Oh my gosh. Man, just like running into a Celica ring, Lyn ring, Tana, Alencia, Shez. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Dual
without
save.
any repos or assist skills or anything like that. Have to go for score. Yeah. Arena's not.
We need a new attuned hero who has a repo gate on it, so we can get this on everybody like, as soon as possible. And then we also need swap gate and like drawback gate. And just all of them, please.
We need all. We need them
ASAP. ASAP. IS.
Yes, the sooner we get high scoring positionals, like the sooner Arena can at least start to heal. But yeah. New Year's banner is not the only banner that released this month. We did get the Genealogy banner, and we did talk about Meteor a bit. Very, very slept on unit for sure. Is there anything else about Meteor, or is he just like the super powerful nuke that?
He's just a really good nuke. Like, oh, I forgot. He has exposure too. So it's actually more true damage. It's like 42 true damage just from his weapon, which is like absurd. So yeah, like Joel was saying, you know, true damage is really good. And Slice with Sparrow is like one of the best A skills in the game right now. So either keeping him or firing him is kind of a win.
I think PM1 got him up to 50 true damage.
Oh,
I can't remember how he did that, but that's Anyway,
no, you could
to your point though.
50.
Lots of true damage.
You can make
nuts.
a scam showcase and use like Bridal Micaiah or something like that, and just like stack that true damage.
Oh, you'll hit for like 300 then or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh man.
One shots through shield fighter.
that if we ever get to that point, that would be like the craziest timeline.
Oh my god.
Is the Shadows listening to this right now? Like, challenge accepted. All right.
Level 1 armor with shield fighter on it.
Oh my goodness, yeah. What about Bridget? There was some talk about Bridget when she released, but I feel like that's sort of fallen off, at least in the circles I'm in.
I mean, she's good. She's a solid unit. I just don't find her like exceptional is where I'm pretty at. But she's very solid, and her fodder's been getting like more and more value over time. I feel like I've just been hearing so much about her fodder. Especially its perfect attack speed is so nice. Like having NFU in your A slot is just like perfect roll compression or like slot compression for your skills.
Perfect roll.
The only problem is like I don't have distant counter. Like there's so many weapons where Ike in particular, we'll be talking about later. Like no distant counter on the weapon. I'm like, man, I want to run this A slot so bad.
Yeah, I feel like Bridget's probably going to be mainly used for the fodder, which is fine. Like Bridget is attuned, so you know that's her role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And she's a good unit. And just she's not moving the needle any.
Exactly. But she has beautiful art, which is what also matters. So.
She absolutely does.
Is it by Rizuki? I can't pronounce the name.
Suzuki Rika. Yes.
I swapped this consonant.
And then we have a Dane too. I haven't heard a single thing about a Dane at all, to be honest.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have.
I haven't heard a single thing, like, at all. Which I guess is fair because what I got from it was that, hey, we can have like Wrathful or Dazzling in the A slot now. That will free up healers' B slots for stuff. And yeah, it wasn't necessarily about her, but more like what the skills that she came with like implies for other healers potentially.
Right. I'm waiting for the Dazzling version. Once the Dazzling version pops out, I'm like oh man, I'm gonna get one, and Alicia's gonna be so much better because her A slot is actual booty right now. Like I'm using catch. Please let me have a new A slot. So I'm very excited for that.
Her time will come soon. Don't trust. But yeah, I mean, I'll be real. The Genealogy banner was kind of a sleeper banner. Like, obviously, Meteor turned out to be a lot better than expected. But yeah, I think when it comes to this Desert banner, though, it was quite the curveball in terms of reactions. I think Because I think we did a simultaneous stream, right? Oblivion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts? I guess for those unaware.
My disappointment was like immeasurable.
And my day's ruined.
I allowed myself to get way too hyped for this banner because of how much potential it had. It's two of my favorite games like ever. You know, Path of Radiance and Sacred Stones being shown. I'm like, oh my god, like we're in Johanna, my favorite nation in Sacred Stones. Like, of course Joshua will be here, right? He's the king of Johanna, or Ismare, the queen of Johanna, right? Oh my god, this is gonna be crazy. And Ike's there. That means that we could get like Path of Radiance characters like Volug and Stefan, who aren't in the game yet and are in deserts. And then we get it, and it's like, here's Malice, and I'm like, why is Malice here? And then here's Marissa, which makes more sense, I guess. And then here's Byleth as a backpack, which I know Satachi loves, but I'm like, why did we go with mercenaries as like the overarching theme instead of the desert, like, you know, what the banner's supposed to be? So yeah, my disappointment's pretty high with this banner. Obviously, Ike is here, and I like Ike a lot. But when it comes to character choices, I'm pretty disappointed for the most part.
Yeah,
I love Marissa.
She's good. She's really good.
I really, really love that unit support. I think it's so needed in the game right now, and she's a lot of fun to play with. I've been having a blast with that unit. So characters that should have been in the banner notwithstanding, I think she's a nice addition.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the unit itself, like when you take off the Marissa skin, let's say, is amazing. I love her. She's really good, right? The dual phase brave, awesome. Everything about that. But if it was Joshua and Ismare, I would like literally have a +10 right now. So I'm just saying, you lost like $1,000. You know, that's on you. But yeah, other than that, I mean, even Malice is really good too. Malice is like kind of slept on, I would say. The problem is that she requires really heavy investment, right? You want like tempo echo, you want like, you know, Legu's loyalty or whatever. Like you want essentially to like be able to use that damage reflection and make sure she lives, which isn't cheap. But if you do invest into Malice, she's actually really good. But that could have been Stefan instead of Malice, and then I would have that maybe +10. So I'm just saying, IS, like, what do you think?
What teams have you been using Marissa the most, Joel, or like having fun with the most? Or which support partner do you find most effective with her?
I've been having fun, mainly Aetherite's offense is what I've been using her for, which I recognize, again, as we talked about, is not the hardest mode right now. But that and Scam Showcases she's really fun for. But for any sort of Omni tank, yes. It is the nukes, particularly the melee nukes, have gotten, well, as you guys know, pretty bulky. Giving your Omni tank Brave is kind of busted. Like that's something that's very, very fun to do. I love the range. Like I actually HP matched my Rune and Lyn for Chaos season, and of course I'm just doing absolute havoc and having a lot of fun in Chaos. But that's stuff like that. She's a fun unit. I think her support is really valuable in an era of shield fighter and ultimate bulky units like Níðhöggr. It is nice to have one more way to give Brave out. Is she better than Cordelia or Catria? I mean, she's different. She's better in some ways and, you know, worse in others, but I think she's a nice addition.
I completely agree. Yeah, she's really fun. She fits into a lot of different teams too. Like she could fit into the Cav line archetypes, and she does really well there, just giving a lot more firepower to things like Brave Crom, who really didn't need more firepower, but sure, why not? You know, for me, because I'm a Felix fan, I'm like, hey, Felix with a Brave weapon, like that's pretty cool. Let's do some double gust stuff. Like is it needed? You know, a little bit maybe, but it's fun. Like it's like you're saying, it's just more of a fun thing than anything. And Brave is always like really solid support, so even if she falls off as a unit, her support will probably, you know what I mean? Like that's more the thing. I think the biggest restricting factor is that you don't get to give out Brave to like multiple units unless you HP match, which is like the big restriction. But obviously there are ways to do that.
Yeah.
And this was something I was just trying to do today. I was trying to be clever, and especially with Emir, And when you attack in and you have Miracle, so your HP is gonna drop. I figured I could switch who she was supporting, and it hasn't worked that way yet. So I'm still trying to figure out what was wrong with that. But I thought that would be kind of fun. Like with each nuke, as they drop their HP, she gives Brave to someone else, and it moves down the line.
I thought it was max HP.
It's based off max HP.
Oh, there you go. Oh, well, that's why I didn't
kill
work.
the unit. You have to kill your nuke.
I have landed in the face stereotype, and I have forgotten how to read today. So there we go.
But yeah, you can do that for sure. Like just have your nukes die, and then that's pretty cool though. Like that's an interesting way to train essentially in SD.
Yeah, man. Actually, yeah, the strats that could have done if it was based off just HP. It would have been super inconsistent on your end if you faced any sort of
HP.
Yeah, but I guess we could dream the potential for us on our end using Marissa as well.
Right.
What about Ike though? I think Ike's the only one we haven't talked about. Has he lived up to the expectations of Emblem Ike and what he did on release?
He is not Emblem Ike 2. He's definitely not. I think anyone who says that is actually on copium. I'm an Ike guy. I'm not gonna say that. I think he's more of a Tamara side grade. That's pretty much where he's at. Tamara, in my opinion, is either the best or second best Omnitic in the game, so that's a pretty good place to be overall. The thing is what you're trading, right? So you're trading firepower, which is what Tamara has with Sandstorm, and instead you're getting more of a support effect, and you're also getting the ability to be a little bit more tanky than Tamara, which I think is a decent trade. But we're also in a meta where everything's really tanky, so having extra firepower is really nice.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with him. I do think he's absolutely solid. I wish he had some different things about him. My biggest problem with him is the restrictions on his effects for his weapon, being tied to allies within 3 spaces.
3 spaces, yep.
And that's pretty much my biggest problem with him. I really don't like that. I really like when my Omnitic can just dive deep and be self-sufficient. You know what I mean? That's what I like about Emblem Ike, which he can't really do. But to be fair, Tamara also has that same condition, so I guess there's that. The other thing is that I hate that he doesn't have distant counter on his weapon as an Ike. Anytime Ike doesn't have distant counter on his weapon, it drives me nuts. And so not having that, having to run either distant bonus doubler or running distant counter seal is just so rough. I really hate that. So that's the one thing I'd probably change if I could. That way he could run attack speed perfect or whatever it's called on Frigid. But yeah, overall pretty solid. Just definitely not the second coming of Emblem Ike, which is probably a good thing considering what Emblem Ike did the first time around.
I think Tamara has 2 things on him, and one is that Bulwark is low key kind of great. That's in the current meta right now. It's really, really good. The other thing, because Tamara is a fodder factory, and obviously there's that aspect of her, but she gets to put on whatever crazy seals come into play, and she gets to keep all of her stuff. So all the attuned stuff. So that is something that is really nice for her to have. So I think she will also have more staying power. Of course, more staying power means, instead of 1 month, you get 2 months. I don't know.
She's already had a pretty solid run so far.
Yeah. Since she released in either September or October, I can't exactly remember which month.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you're killing my joke here. Come on.
Sorry.
I mean,
actually, no,
I do think Tamara is really, really good though. Overall,
yeah, she is.
Definitely. I think my biggest hate on not Ike, but what Ike brought was Lagu's loyalty. Why did they downgrade Lagu's friend and then release it? What? I'm so mad to skill.
Yeah, oh my gosh. No DR piercing on that is really painful, especially considering the bulk units have these days. Mm-hmm. And also not having a defensive NFU is, again, we have a rise of guaranteed follow-up attack units now, which is crazy to think about, but it exists. Yeah.
Yeah, and less true damage too. Less, and the thing that really hurts is the effect they traded for pierceable DR and more true damage was easier follow-ups, which Ike doesn't really need. You're already stacking speed. So it's not that big of a deal. Like, you really don't need that effect. Like you were saying, like, defensive no follow-up would have actually made the skill, like, ridiculously better in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't even be hating on it if that defensive no follow-up, because you don't really need offensive no follow-up that much, but defensive no follow-up is extremely valuable right now. And so I think that would have been, like, insanely good on this skill, but they didn't go that route, which I'm a little bit salty about.
Yeah, like I thought this would be like Lugu's friend, but for speedy units. But unfortunately, it did not like reach that point, basically.
Right. Yep. It's Magic Gambit all over again.
It's always really weird to see where they hold back and where they don't. Like, that's, I mean, Omni tanks are already not doing great, and they release a skill that might help them, but then they nerf it? I don't know.
Yeah. And then they also released a Times Pulse 4, but better, which is kind of crazy to me. That we've gotten Times Pulse 5, essentially. Or like 4.5. You know what I mean? That's nuts. Which, I mean, it makes sense. Times Pulse is like one of the few skills that didn't have stats on it, so now they're just putting stats on it. But that's still just insane for that to actually have happened.
I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot Ike had a new Times Pulse for a second.
The problem is it's all my favorites, so I don't want to fodder him. I'm like, can you stop? Can you put all the skills I want on units I hate, and then all the skills that I don't want on the units I love, so that way I can just, like, you know,
put it on Malice so you can
guilt-free
fodder that. Yeah,
a killer. Right, exactly. I would kill her. I wouldn't even feel bad.
But yeah. I guess, like, I mean, this Desert Banner didn't really move the needle or anything like that. Like, obviously the Brave support is really, really good right now. Brave in general is just really, really good. But it was not like the New Year's Banner or anything like that. Which is good, you know. We like these sort of banners that are just chill, yeah. I mean, it makes it easy for me since I don't have to summon for them, and I can feel less guilty about it. So that's always good. Yeah.
True.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't think either of these banners really pushed. I'm expecting the next power push to be at the FEH channel. I think that's probably where it will be. That just makes sense to me. But at the same time, unlike last year where the emblems were revealed after the FEH channel, so we couldn't vote for them, or during the FEH channel, so we couldn't vote for them. This time the Hero Rises is after, so we should be able to vote for whatever the new thing is. So I don't know if they'll actually put the power creep right there, because like everybody could get it for free technically, right? So I think that's an interesting line to like toe to see which way they end up going with it.
Yeah, because we're expecting a Mythic banner before the FEH channel.
Correct.
Basically.
Right.
Is this going to be
double Mythic
right?
Or yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's got a Mythic battle in there, so it'll be a Mythic banner. But yeah, that's.
We don't know if it'll be double Mythic, right? Like if it will.
I'm kind of with you on this one, Oblivion. I think we will get a double. It feels right, especially if you look at I was looking at KCB's video that had the predictions. If you look at the number of units that are question marks there, it feels like a double Mythic.
Right.
There's like too many empty spaces.
That's a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's also like a good chance for them to push the reinforcement slots. If you drop essentially 2 Mythics with reinforcement slots here, that like kind of does a lot to allow that to be more of a influential effect in the meta, and it will make people pull for it because it'll be the first of its kind.
Right. Because like right now, like I feel like the reinforcement slots doesn't really matter that much. Like it's only on Astra, on Rune. Like most of the time the match is already done before the reinforcement slot kicks in. But like having more of it, and like especially if it's on defense, I think will be definitely a lot more interesting than what it currently is.
Right. We might end up like in a Saros situation.
I really want to know how that's gonna work, though.
Exactly.
It's gonna be really interesting.
Because like when we got Regan, it was like, oh, this is really strong, and then we got Saros, and it actually changed how the game worked in a lot of ways because of how the interactions worked with the 7th defense slot. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the same case with defense reinforcements.
I feel like it probably will be less, because just for the simple fact that it doesn't happen on turn 1. Like when Saros happened, like the end turning thing happening on turn 1 allowed like all these crazy dancer traps and everything to start happening. And like that was a huge shift because like dancer traps literally did not exist before Saros. And yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we'll get the same here. But again, maybe who knows what the future will have. Maybe I'm just missing something and it turns out to be actually super crazy.
So wait, what you don't know is that the defense reinforcement slot ignores the safety fence and it pops on turn 1.
Yeah. Just like completely rewrite that text in the notification.
Just turn 1.
That's crazy if they did that.
You guys have already seen that you can place it anywhere.
Yes.
So that alone is a little head scratching, but I'm very curious. I don't know what that's gonna bring.
Yeah. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Who are you hoping will be on this Mythic, potentially double Mythic banner?
Oh my gosh, please, IS, please don't do us dirty again. Oh my god. Okay, so like, if you don't know, throughout the year, there's very few Mythic slots that aren't guaranteed to be OCs. And the reason why is like, essentially as the year goes on, they have to start releasing all the OCs. Like you get like all the, the Healing Hand Neopets at the end of last year, right? Or like the middle of last year to the end. And so typically we have a slot open in January and then like March or April is open for another Mythic slot. And so we can actually get a non-OC for once. So we could get like Athos or Sephiron or Soin or Dignicia or any of these Mythic characters who exist in Fire Emblem lore could be this month. But it could also be Sombron and like Fafnir. And then I will actually cry and just like not want to play the game anymore. So we'll have to see.
Sombron isn't an OC, to be fair.
He's not an OC. He's just a very bad villain.
And it's gonna be Sombron. I'm sorry. I'm preparing you.
No. It's gonna be Athos and I'm gonna be happy.
Maybe it'll be Athos and Sombron. Would you be happy?
I will take that.
Is that okay?
I will take that. If we can get Athos, I will pretend Sombron's not there and I'll just make my thumbnail Athos and we'll be fine.
No. What we're going to do is we're going to get Balder because she's going to have a mistletoe incident. And then, that will be her cue to enter.
We actually got Balder and Hother like now. That would be insane. Like, I don't even know what would happen. That'd be nuts.
It would be nuts. Although I feel like it'll most likely happen in like the June normal New Year. The June New Heroes banner. Like how Hatred and Icthanir was last year. So
yeah, that makes sense to me too.
But yeah, we've been talking for an hour and 12 minutes. We have a lot to discuss, especially during these very hype and very active times with CYL and all these banners. I guess, is there any final thoughts that we want to share before we end it off?
So, I guess like when it comes to Hero Rises, I think me and Joel are both doing videos on that. But I will say a little propaganda here. If we vote for the snake and she gets first place, she'll get nerfed. So I'm just saying we can get rid of the snake. Like,
I mean,
out there.
There's a chance she would get nerfed, but there's also a chance that she wouldn't, and everyone will have snakes now.
No, she'll get nerfed. She'll get nerfed. 100%. Like, everyone's using the snake now. We can't have this.
Haven't they always nerfed whoever wins first place?
Pretty
much.
Pretty much. Like, yeah, pretty much.
Did they nerf Ninjorin that much? I can't remember.
I mean, she nerfed herself with deflect missile or deflect magic.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to. Yeah. It was already happening.
Right. I mean, I guess a tuned peony doesn't really count since she's like just a tuned unit.
A dancer,
yeah. I mean, I'm just saying.
Obviously, she was the best winner then. That's.
I'm just saying, if we're going to do propaganda, Ninja Lucina was literally the most used unit this last STR by 40% points. So, if that doesn't scream number one unit in the game, I don't know what will.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I wouldn't like. That's the thing. Like, okay, so there's like two optics for AHR: the unit I actually want to get for free, or the unit I want to see get destroyed by nerfs. So, like, which road do you take, right?
I mean, the way I view it, there's no guarantee that a unit will get nerfed. Like, it is theoretically likely, but you never know. Meanwhile, if a unit you want gets in for free, there's a guarantee, you know, that you get one for free and you'll like them. So, hey, I know my math.
I need that merch.
I need that merch. I spent 800 ores for 2 copies, so I need everything I can get.
I feel
it was painful. And honestly, I would not mind if she won. Like Ninja Lucina is a very good unit, so she's definitely up there for choices.
Absolutely.
Any unit you want on HR, Joel?
I always want rearmed and attuned units. Yes. I love building older units, and the way I get my gateway drug to that is rearmed heroes.
True, so true.
That is the way that happens. So anytime you give me more of those, I'm very happy. If I get 1 or even 2 on the banner, I'll be ecstatic. But that's I've heard a lot of rumblings about Tamara on there, and I'd be perfectly happy with that.
Tamara would be good.
Yeah, I mean, when you showed that like huge chart on that one stream you did, I was just like, literally like thumbtacks on a board. Yeah.
My Charlie Day moment.
Yes, yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, definitely a lot of options. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for watching or listening to the podcast. Thank you to, as always, for being amazing co-hosts. Always super fun. And yeah. Yeah, of course. And yeah, it is CYL seasons, and we did talk about them at the beginning. So let us know down in the comments who you're hoping will win the CYL 9 or what you're expecting. Anything else that you like that happened in the past month? And yeah, happy CYL season. Hope you all have an amazing rest of the day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.